Good afternoon, Delhi. This is very exciting. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you so much for coming out and braving the traffic. And I'd like to extend a hugely warm welcome to all of you. It's a real privilege for me to stand here today. I've just arrived from the UK, and although inevitably it feels slightly strange to have just got off a plane, it feels also like there's a great sense of shared purpose here in this room that transcends any borders that may be between us normally. And so whether you are involved in shaping educational policy or creating wonderful keyboards, or you're an educator who nurtures talent in the classroom or the music room, or a parent who encourages your child to practice their instrument, I hope that what unites us today is that single powerful belief in the transformative power of the creative arts. That's what is behind why I started Rockschool all those years ago. So today I want to take you on a bit of a journey that spans 35 years, and it's been an adventure that began with a very simple idea, and it's grown into a form of a global movement. I also want to talk about the future, as Arup mentioned. The future of your children, the future of the global creative industries, and the brilliant and expanding future for RSL Awards right here in India. So let's rewind the clock back to 1991. 35 years ago, I didn't have grey hair. Not only that, the landscape of music education looked very different than today. I was a music graduate playing in bands in London and around the UK, and I saw that the musicians who played in those bands and the fellow students who were studying alongside me all shared a real sense of frustration with music education. Pop music, especially UK pop music, was topping the charts all over the world, defining the generations of young people who were listening and enjoying it in countries throughout the globe. And we were leading a world of innovation, of creativity and profitability. And all this was pretty much ignored by mainstream music education. It may now seem slightly strange to remember that, but back then, in the 1980s and early 1990s, if you played the violin or the classical piano or the cello, there was a very clear, structured path for you. You could take grade exams, measure your progress and celebrate your achievements. But what if you played pop music? What if you played electric guitar or the bass or drums? Or you just produced music or you were a songwriter? There was absolutely nothing. There was no framework to validate the countless hours of practice and immense skill required to master all of these contemporary musical skills and instruments. And I fundamentally believe that young musicians playing pop music deserve that same recognition, the same rigorous educational framework and the same respect as their classical contemporaries. So in 1991, Rockschool was born. We became the world's very first awarding organisation to offer graded music exams in pop music. And we started with rock guitar, bass and drums, pioneering a new way of learning that engaged students by allowing them to play the music they actually listened to and loved. And that's a crucial thing which I always want to emphasise with anyone who's involved in Rockschool. We're about helping young people play the music they love. Old-fashioned music education suggests that the music teachers are trying to welcome young people to like the music teachers like. It's a fundamental difference. And all of our competitors don't understand that. Please remember that too. That's not in their hearts. Mainly because they are based in a classical music tradition. So when they do try and compete with us, they simply do it because they want to increase market share, not because they love the art of pop music. We started with the love of the art of pop music, and then we learned how to be an awarding organisation. It's just a different philosophy, a different paradigm, a different place. It's more fun. So it's 35 years, amazingly to me, since we published our first syllabus, and the growth of our work over time has been really quite amazing. We started with a small office in West London. We're now in 60 countries, and we've examined millions of aspiring musicians worldwide. And in order to quantify this and explain it a bit more, I decided during COVID that I would write a book. And I got the people who are my professional colleagues to do interviews with me. I'll wave it at you. We're going to put it in the library. I'm very delighted to put it in the library here. And it's used now by governments and journalists to understand the change in pop music education in the UK from 1960 to 2020. And what's really important is in the book, there's an appendix which is 16 pages long with alumni for pop music education courses in there. They range, it happens to start with A for Adele. Is Adele famous in India? I hope so. And it quite quickly goes on to Rockschool alumni, E for Ed Sheeran. And it goes on to Jess Glynn and lots of other people. And for you do most of you run music schools? Is that, hands up who runs a music school or who teaches in a music school? Okay. So that's mainly who's here. Hi. Nice to see you. I think one of the things that can be a challenge sometimes when you're talking to fellow educators or you're talking to parents is they might think that what we do is somehow experimental. It is innovative, but it's really not experimental anymore. It was experimental in about 1985. It's now an achievement. And the 16 pages of people who won Grammys and Brit Awards and who've had top 10 records just in the UK, or from the UK, here, all of whom are alumni, not just of Rockschool, but of pop music degrees, pop music diplomas, that others have done as well, demonstrates it's an achievement. It doesn't make Adele into Adele. But the fact that some of Britain's most successful global stars have had pop music education as part of their journey is the crucial thing, because it means that we can all now understand that just like fashion designers, filmmakers need the opportunity to experiment and learn and be challenged through the process of education, so do pop musicians. What I also did was I looked at how the landscape of music qualifications has changed in the UK since 1994. So RSL, we are best known, particularly in India, for our graded music exams. We also do full-time music qualifications equivalent to A-levels and GCSEs in the UK that we call VQs. And I'm delighted to say that in this report I was able to demonstrate that since 1994, when we first started doing VQ type qualifications, which are equivalent in the UK to A-levels and GCSEs, which I'm sure you're familiar with as an exam type, that the numbers of people who are taking music qualifications in English schools, these numbers are all England, has risen since 1994 to 2020 by 70%. And the rise is almost entirely driven by the vocational and pop music qualifications that we championed. And in fact, our report shows that pop music qualifications now make up over 44% of all school and college music qualifications in England. And they are on a rising trajectory, which means that at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be more kids doing pop music qualifications in schools than doing traditional GCSE and A-level music. So again, it's an achievement, not an experiment. It also proves a vital point, which is when you, as music educators, provide young people with an education that's relevant to their passions and aligned with the modern world. They don't just participate, they thrive. And as I mentioned, there's a whole appendix there full of the Ed Sheerans and the Jess Glynns and the Adeles who are alumni of courses like ours. And of course, for every famous artist standing in the spotlight on the main stage, there's an entire ecosystem of creative professionals standing behind them. The wider creative industries rely on songwriters, producers, sound engineers, managers and broadcasters. The global impact of popular music is an economic powerhouse. It's an industry that demands technical excellence, creative problem solving and an entrepreneurial spirit, exactly the practical skills that our qualifications are designed to foster. So as the years have gone by, and as the creative industries have evolved, RSL Awards has also responded. So we realised that the foundational ethos of Rockschool grade exams, accessibility, relevance and progressive mastery, could also be applied to other art forms. So today, RSL is about far more than just pop and rock music. We proudly represent classical music through our engaging and diverse RSL classical services, which are all designed specifically for the 21st century classical musician. Furthermore, we have passionately embraced the broader performing arts through our stage school qualifications, so we now offer graded exams in musical theatre, dance and public speaking. We're also looking firmly to the future with our creative digital media qualifications, provided graded exams in music production, podcasting and vlogging, all world firsts. We're actively equipping a new generation of creative professionals with the modern multimedia skills that they need to tell their unique stories to the world. And this brings me to why I'm so thrilled and really moved to be standing here in India today. India is a country with a rich, unparalleled cultural heritage, a country where music, rhythm, dance and storytelling are woven into the very fabric of daily life. And it's also a dynamic nation that is hurtling towards the future and producing some of the brightest, most innovative young minds on the planet. So I'd like to take a moment to express my real gratitude and to heap well-deserved praise on everyone involved in our RSL Awards India business. The dedication of our team here has been nothing short of phenomenal. In the first year of his post as Director and Country Manager, Arup has achieved record levels of growth in sales from 2023, and that's continued in 2024 and 2025. He's been a vital part of RSL for over a decade, and his knowledge of music teachers in the country is completely unrivaled. Under his leadership and through the tireless hard work of the entire Indian subsidiary team, we've built a vital support network for educators. I hope that you feel that. I'm so delighted that you're here to see this in action. Teachers and students in India have wholeheartedly embraced our approach to education, and I'm incredibly proud of the record numbers that we're seeing taking our exams. And our local subsidiaries' work in fostering local talent and empowering educators is the gold standard for how we think international educational partnerships should operate. So looking ahead, I hold a hugely positive and ambitious view of RSL's future in India. We're completely committed to increasing our reach across the whole vast, wonderful country here. We want to ensure that a high-quality creative education is accessible to even more students in more cities and across more diverse communities. And if you here have ideas of how we could do that quicker and better, please talk to us. I also applaud the vision of India's policymakers. By supporting the creative arts and education, they're not just funding entertainment, they are investing in the cognitive, emotional and economic development of your young people. The creative economy is the economy of the future, and India is perfectly positioned to be a global leader within it. So to the parents in the room, I know that when your child comes to you and says they want to study music or musical theatre or public speaking, it can sometimes feel like a step into the unknown. We all want security for our children, but let me assure you the skills they're learning through RSL Awards are the ultimate skills of the future. In a world that's increasingly automated, a world driven by algorithms and artificial intelligence, what is it that makes us uniquely human? It's our creativity. It's our ability to communicate, to empathise, to stand on a stage and move an audience. And when a child prepares for an RSL music exam, they're not just learning how to play an instrument or a song, they're learning discipline, patience, and resilience. And when children study our performing arts and public speaking syllabuses, they're building profound self-confidence. They're learning how to articulate their thoughts, how to present themselves with poise under pressure, and how to collaborate effectively with others. So whether your child goes on to become the next great global music superstar, or a leading sound engineer, a tech entrepreneur, a doctor, or a future political leader of the country, the confidence and communication skills they gain through the performing arts will certainly serve them for the rest of their lives. A child who can stand up and deliver in an RSL exam, or even a founder in a speech like today, with clarity and conviction, is someone who's ready to take on the boardroom, the courtroom, or even the parliament. So the journey from a single idea in 1991 to a global educational network in 2026 has been the greatest privilege and excitement of my life. But the true stars of this 35-year story, as far as I'm concerned, are not the founders, are not the executives or the examiners. The true stars are you and your students. Every time a young person in India picks up a guitar, sits at a keyboard or steps up to a microphone to take an RSL exam, I'm hoping that you're telling them that they are writing the next brilliant chapter, not only of their lives, but also our shared history together. Together we are doing something very extraordinary. We are giving the next generation the tools they need to find their own voice and the unshakable confidence to let the world hear that. So thank you for your trust, thank you for your unwavering dedication to the arts, and thank you for welcoming RSL Awards so warmly into your hearts, into your schools, and into your homes. And now I think we can look forward to another 35 years of creativity, of innovation and musical excellence here in India and globally around the world. Thank you so much for listening to me.